Welcome to the Spirit of a Badass, where we celebrate stories of courage, hope, and resiliency. I am your host, Alecia Jacobson. Hello, hi, how are we? Happy New Year. I love this time of year. This brings me excitement and joy. And I love a good New Year, a new fresh beginning. So cheers to you. Some announcements that I want to share with you. January 7th, I have my bingo event. If you listen to the bingo episode, I'm going to be doing that event on January 7th at noon. That link will be in the show notes that you can sign up for that. You can come and get some ideas of things that you would like to add into your year, and it helps you think a little differently about what you want to create and what you want to experience out in the world. It's different than kind of any other way that I've ever done. It's not really goal setting. It's kind of intention and what you want to create in your life. I do also, though, have a in-person vision board workshop in collaboration with Monroe Street Art Center. And that is on January 15th. That's a Thursday at noon. And that link is also going to be in the show notes. So if you are local to the Madison, Wisconsin area, I would love to see you and have you take part in that and create a vision board. I love vision boards. It's something I've been doing, these kind of virtual and in-person workshops since like 2015, I don't even know. I had like a memory pop up, and it was my first vision board workshop. That was at my very first gym, like in the basement of this building. And my oldest was like, I think 7. So that was really neat to see that kind of memory pop up, and involving my kids has always been a fun thing to do in that also. So those are 2 events that I have in January for you that you can just look in the show notes and sign up. And I would love to see you. The January 7th one, there is no cost to that, to the bingo. And then the in-person workshop, there is a $30 fee for that. And you can just go get your ticket and sign up. And I would love to see you in person for that January 15th vision board event at Monroe Street Art Center. So those are the 2 events that I have coming up. I do have some other things that I will be sharing starting on social media, and then I will also share it here that I'm really excited to be bringing you, but I'm going to hold on to those for right now. So you'll have to wait to hear about that. But today I wanted to kind of share with you is things that I was sharing on social media called the Good Enough Project, that I was doing daily ideas of ways that you could show up good enough. And the reasoning for that is because I was seeing a whole lot of the kind of perfectionism, people pleasing, and just kind of getting you out of the mindset of needing things to be just so before you get started, before you do the thing, because that sucks so much time and energy out of you and out of us as a collective. And if we can kind of switch our mentality in some areas, it gives us so much more space and free time to do the things that we truly want to be doing and things that we want to spend our energy and time on, versus things that we feel like we have to do, or maybe if we're, kind of putting that on that perfectionism lens, and it steals our energy, and that just doesn't feel good. And that's something that I am so just an advocate on, because we have limited, it might feel like it's not, but I want you to feel your best as much as you can. And if you're spending time on things that don't matter, that means it's taking from the time that does matter, that you could be spending with people or, doing an activity that you love. I hear so often, I don't have time. And there's the scarcity around energy and time. And in reality, it's like, okay, well, where are you kind of releasing that time and giving that time where you could not do that? And I'm going to share some examples of things that people shared with me, and just give you kind of some of my own examples of ways that I can do this and ways that I do this, in my daily life. And that way, hopefully you can see it. And you can also, if you don't already follow me on Instagram, I would love to connect with you there. You can go back and see the day 1 of the Good Enough Challenge and kind of the ideas, and then kind of follow it through from there. But some of the things that came up, there was one about just doing something and not perfecting it. A lot of times when we are out there in our work, it's this perfect because you're worried what other people are going to think of you, whether it's your coworkers or whomever you're sending it to, a colleague of some sorts, that you're worried that they are going to be judging you or that you're not smart enough or good enough, that you haven't kind of earned your way to be here, or that you're not good enough to take up space in this role that you have. Even though, I mean, I hear people say this and I understand, I hear where you're coming from. And also, you so fucking deserve to be where you are at. You are good enough, and kind of starting to make that a core belief that you have, and knowing that you don't need to perfect everything in order to have that, to achieve that. And this is kind of a dipping your toe in to just notice. And one of the comments that I got is somebody who is making something on Canva and, messaged and said, "Oh, I'm so grateful that you said not to perfect, just do it and be done." She said she saved an hour of her time. And if you think of things that you have to do repetitively and how much time that's 1 hour out of one day. And if you have to do this task 2 to 3 times a week, that's so many hours of your life that you're spending on perfecting. And it's this kind of the hamster wheel, the ruminating that you have in your head, that somehow it's not good enough. And then what happens? You finish it, and likely you still think it's not good enough. You're still second guessing yourself. So if you're going to do that anyway, conserve the time and do something that you would fucking like to do, instead of wasting the time perfecting just to still shit on yourself afterwards that it wasn't good enough. And again, this goes deeper. This is stuff that I work with people, in one-on-one coaching and on how to, release this pattern of thinking and this habit of being in the world or in your career, and know that you don't have to do these things. But for now, this is the kind of surface that just dipping your toe in to it. And that's one example of what it looks like to not perfect and go over and over and over something. And other things is, we just finished up some holiday things and people with their homes and cleaning. And one person said, she messaged me because I had said, good enough. And she messaged and was like, "Oh, so I don't have to clean the toaster, the crumbs." And it's like, if you think about the things that we spend time on that really don't matter within our home, it's so silly and ridiculous because it really doesn't matter. Because when you look at the scenario and the idea of inviting people into your home, why are you inviting them? Right? We're inviting them for connection, community, for having a feeling of celebrating. There's so many things and reasons that you can look and see, why am I doing this? And none of them are for the cleanliness. So they would be like, "Oh, damn, your toilet's looking good." Now, obviously, you don't want a nasty, crusty ass toilet, but we're not doing it so they think that you're a good housekeeper. Like, you don't want disgusting, but that's not the reason that you're doing things. And if you can shift out of this performing, perfecting, and focus on what are you trying to create? What are you trying to convey? It can kind of move you out of that space of needing everything to look a certain way. Because I feel like it's not really, that some of the things are not real. One of the other ways that you can do this that I see so often, especially, we're starting this new year and you have these resolutions. A lot of times it's around fitness and health, and how that agitates the shit out of me. But people consistently, women are still, I start working with women on this, and the idea is that at some point in your life, you were given a message, and everybody's is different, but the message is that to be fit, to be healthy, to have this idea, of what that looks like for you, that it has to look a certain way. The exercise has to look a certain way. The timing of the exercise, that looks like the actual duration you spend in this exercise and also the time of day. And when you have this idea that it has to be in this perfect kind of bow wrapped on it way, that doesn't necessarily align with your life. If you have this fixed mindset of it has to look this way, and also this, it doesn't align with my life, how fucking easy is that going to be for you? Not at all. And not that it has to be easy, but if you can kind of lay this, lens of good enough on it, what does it look like to do exercise or do health in a good enough way? Because if you're not doing it now, it's going to be better than that, right? But if you have this idea of perfection keeps people from even getting started because you can't achieve that most likely. And so you don't start because you don't want to feel shitty about not achieving perfection, but then you just end up feeling shitty for not starting. So if you can lay this lens of what does it look like to be good enough, to give it a solid C effort and do that consistently, then you will build a foundation and a habit for doing that. When I started, two different things, I was taking my running class and I started that 1 or 2 times a week. And then I bumped it up to 3 and then I bumped it up to 4. But that was over a year period. That wasn't over, a month or me saying, for me to be doing this, I need to do it 4 times a week. Because I guarantee I wouldn't have done that because that would have felt real, real uncomfortable. And it wouldn't have been sustainable. And if it's not sustainable, then why are we doing it? Because truly, this needs to be something sustainable if it's something that you want to achieve and, get the long-term results from it. And then the other one was my strength training class. I only started going on Mondays, and then I started going Monday, Friday. And then I started going 5 days a week at one point, and now I've sort of added some things in. So I'm kind of, staggering things. But had I, said I need to go 5 days a week, it needs to look this way, that's so rigid. That doesn't even feel good. And if you're just starting, that's not really a way to just start. You wouldn't, have a little kid when they're reading, you're not going to give them a fucking novel, right? You got to start with the like bat sat on cat or cat, all those books, the ones where everything kind of looks the same. You learn the patterns, you learn the rhythm. That's what you're doing. You're learning the pattern, you're learning the rhythm, you're learning what does and doesn't work. But if you go in with this idea of perfection, likely it hasn't worked for you and it's not going to work again. So I really want to invite you to look at what it would be like in these areas of life that are sticky for you and the areas of life that you are just leaching energy and feel shitty about it. And what would it look like to be good enough in those areas? What would a solid C or solid B look like? And I know you're probably uncomfortable even thinking about that, but if it's already not going well and you already are so frustrated about it, then let's choose maybe a different frustration and, fumble a little bit and try it that way and see if it could be different, because you could be so much happier by trying something a different way. And sometimes we don't even think of, oh, there's that option. I maybe don't have to work out at 5 o'clock in the morning because I'm not a morning person. I mean, the amount of non-morning people that I have had to coerce to thinking about what does it look like to work out and move your body at a different time because they think that that's what the fit people do is get up early in the morning, because those people, they probably like to tell you about it. They're coming into work and they're like, yeah, I did this morning and that this morning. And you're like, damn, they are what I want to be that way. But every morning you set your alarm and you're not getting up because you're not a morning person. And that is okay. That is okay, because there's plenty of people who are not morning people that find space in different areas of the day or week to move their bodies in a way that feels good. The fitness area is just the area that I have repeatedly seen people not get started or quit because they cannot achieve this idea that they have in their head that has been there for probably 20, 25 years. Could have came from, teen magazine or the, DVDs that they had in the living room that were saying, you have to do this many times a week, or the Instagram person that they follow. Do what works for you. And if it doesn't work for you, then it doesn't work for you. You need to find what works for you. When it comes to this idea of good enough, I really would like you to just take some time and, maybe journaling. Where does the perfectionism, the people pleasing show up in your life, and how could it be serving to you to lay this over it? Because there's lots of ways that this can show up within your world. Just last night, my daughter, she's 10, and she moved rooms back in the summertime, and her closet is a shit show. So we tackled some yesterday. And then there's this one drawer in it. It's just like from an actual dresser that has been placed in there. It's just full. She's like, well, there's some like garbage in it. And I was like, well, maybe let's just, every day take like 5 things out. And she's like, no, I'll just do it all tomorrow. Well, I can guarantee you that girl is not going to come home from school and be like, you know what? I'm going to take this bin and I'm just going to do it all right now. I'm just going to do it. But she kind of has this idea that it has to look, I just do it all at once. Well, she hasn't done it all at once this entire time. So the past would show that she's not going to come home tonight and be like, you know what? I'm going to do this all at once. And if we could, like, in this situation, there's lots of things. I talked about, my basement. And one of the ways that I did that was I set a timer, and I set a 10-minute timer for several weeks. And every day I would go down for 10 minutes and I would just get it done. And that was a way that wasn't a way that most people do things, but it was a way that worked for me. And for me, that was good enough. I didn't need to have it all done in a day, because I knew damn well that I would get all this energy and be excited about it and then start it, and then I would never complete it. But setting a timer, and you can do that, with anything. You set a 2-minute timer and just tackle it. A lot of people have a space in their house that pisses them off, that feels cluttered and overwhelming, and they look at it and they feel guilty and they feel shame and they feel not good enough because this place in their house is overwhelming to them. The space, it could be a closet, a chair in a corner, the treadmill that is used as a hanger space, and they don't get it done because it feels overwhelming. But I guarantee you, if you set a 2-minute timer every single day and you spend 2 minutes and pick the thing up, and don't be done until it goes where it needs to go. We're not just putting it, in different places. But if you did that for 2 weeks, the shit would probably be done. Okay. So looking at things in your world where, how can you work with what you have? How can you work with who you are? And how can you do good enough in order to jumpstart yourself to get started, versus not getting started at all because it can't be perfect or look the way that maybe you think it should, or you've been told that it needs to, or done in the way that you were taught to do it, and now that just doesn't fit you. So that is my invitation for you. Happy New Year. I am really excited to do this year with you, and just all the things. I'm super jazzed. All sorts of fun things happening, and I'm excited. I hope you're excited. I would love to connect with you. You can connect with me on Instagram. I would love it if you love this podcast, if you would go ahead and give us a review on Apple or Spotify or wherever it is that you listen. I would appreciate that. That way more people can join us here. All right. Thank you as always, and Happy New Year. Spirit of a Badass is a Lit Path Studios podcast and is produced by Jamie Gale and Alecia Jacobson. Music by Shane Ivers. We'll be back with another inspiring interview. Until then, keep your spirits high and your energy badass.